Alright, so it's finally time to talk about TJ Watt. But here's the twist. It's not going to be what you're expecting. This isn't about rumors, it's not about drama, and it's definitely not about hot takes flying around for clicks. It's about the reality of where things stand with one of the most dominant defensive players in football, what he still means to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and why his presence on the field is more important now than ever before. Let's get this out of the way first. He's going to sign. The extension is going to happen. That's been the case from the start, and that hasn't changed. It doesn't matter how long the negotiations drag on or how quiet things might seem right now. There's no wavering from that belief. He's been at training camp. He's around. He's not out there sulking or hiding. He's just not fully involved in the drills, and that's fine. That's the new normal in the NFL. This holding approach where a star player protects his health while waiting for the deal to get done. It's not unique to TJ. It's smart, and it works, just like we saw in the past with other top-tier guys. He's doing his work on the side, staying ready. You don't need to see him in full pads every day to know what he brings to this team. And when the front office and the player both want to make something happen, they're going to find a way to make it happen. It's not about if, it's about when. So don't get distracted by the noise. Don't waste energy on the speculation. Focus on what actually matters. Where TJ Watt is going to be lining up when the season starts, because that's going to have a major impact on how the Steelers perform this year. Now, let's address the obvious. Yes, TJ is still elite. Even at age 30, the numbers speak for themselves. Over the past 2 seasons alone, we're talking about more than 30 sacks, over 60 quarterback hits, and 10 forced fumbles. That's absurd production. That's game-wrecking ability. That's a guy who doesn't just show up in the box score. He shifts the way opposing offenses game plan week after week. So let's not waste time pretending there's a debate about whether or not he's worth a big contract. He is. He always has been. When you have a player like this, you do not let him walk. Period. But that doesn't mean everything's been perfect. Down the stretch last season, things didn't look the same. The Steelers hit a wall and TJ's impact dropped off. Was it fatigue? Was it the brutal schedule where they had to play 3 games in 11 days? Was it the offense failing to stay on the field and giving the defense no rest? Probably a bit of all of that. But here's the reality over those final 4 games. Including the playoff loss to Baltimore, TJ recorded just 7 tackles, 0 sacks. That's not what you expect from someone who's supposed to be the anchor of the defense. To be fair, there were injuries. He got banged up in that game against Philadelphia, and honestly, at the time, it looked way worse than it turned out to be. It was impressive how fast he came back and continued to suit up. But there were other factors too. Teams were chipping him more often. Not always sending double teams, but enough to make life harder. And then there was that strange usage in the playoff game, sending him crashing inside at Derrick Henry even when Henry didn't have the ball. That's not how you use your most dangerous player. That's the kind of mistake that costs you games. If you want to get creative with your defensive schemes, fine. But don't build your gimmicks around the guy who's supposed to be dominating on the edge. That's backwards. Still, despite how the season ended, none of that changes what TJ means to this team. Whether he ends up with the richest contract on the roster or not, the bottom line is simple. The Steelers need him playing at or near his peak if they're going to make any kind of serious push this year. That means learning from what didn't work. It means adapting. And one of those possible adjustments, moving him around on the defensive front. That's not just some wild theory. It's something that's been acknowledged by everyone, from Mike Tomlin to Omar Khan to Terrell Austin and even TJ himself. It's not a radical change either. They've done it before, just in smaller doses. Maybe this year they crank that up a bit. Keep offenses guessing, make it a little harder for them to key in on him. Because right now, when teams prepare for Pittsburgh, they look for number 90 and build their entire protection plan around stopping him. And if that's all they have to worry about, they're going to succeed. Let's be real here, though. I'm not convinced the change will actually stick. Maybe it's something they experiment with. Maybe it's part of the preseason rotation. But long-term, probably not. And to be honest, that's okay. Because the real issue isn't TJ Watt. The real issue is what's happening, or not happening, around him. The truth is we've gotten lazy when it comes to analyzing the Steelers' defense. Fans, media, all of us. As soon as the defense struggles, the conversation always circles. Back to one thing. Where's TJ? Why isn't he blowing up every play? Why hasn't his name been called in the last 10 minutes? But that's not how football works. Edge rushers aren't built to dominate every snap, and even the best need help. They need a defensive line that can win one-on-ones. They need interior pressure. They need blitzes that keep offenses honest. And for a while now, Pittsburgh just hasn't delivered on that front. Cam Hayward has been a warrior, no doubt. He's been elite, but he can't do it all himself. He can't be the only guy generating pressure from the inside, especially at his age, and he shouldn't have to. If the Steelers are going to unlock the full potential of this defense, they need more than just Cam and TJ dominating. They need real contributions from the rest of that front. Guys like Keanu Benton have to take that next step. Players like DeMarvin Leal or whoever else is rotating through the line need to win their matchups. And yes, the linebackers and secondary have to contribute too. Send the occasional blitz. Mix things up. Because when you don't, when the opposing offense only has to focus on stopping one guy, it becomes a lot easier to neutralize him. Chip him. Slide protection his way. Send an extra blocker. That's all it takes. And suddenly you've taken the most dangerous player on the field out of the equation. It's like baseball. If you've only got one superstar in the lineup, teams just pitch around him, intentionally walk him. You can't hit home runs when you're stuck on first base. Same deal with TJ. Yeah, he can't wreck the game if all he sees is double teams and help from tight ends or running backs every snap. But if you start getting real pressure from other areas, if Benton becomes that guy, if one of the young defensive ends starts winning reps, if you actually bring a blitz from a corner or safety, once in a while, then the picture changes. Offenses can't focus all their attention on Watt, and suddenly he's back to doing what he does best, terrorizing quarterbacks. And let's not forget, when TJ is on, this defense hits a whole different gear. He's not just a pass rusher. He's a tone setter, a guy who energizes the whole unit. When he's flying around, when he's getting to the quarterback, everyone feeds off that. The energy on the sideline, the confidence, it's all different. So yeah, getting that extension done is important. But getting TJ back to playing free, playing fast, and playing smart, that's the real goal. As for the contract situation, again, it's going to get done. The Steelers have never been the kind of team to let cornerstone players walk out the door. They didn't do it with Cam. They didn't do it with Troy. And they're not going to do it with TJ. It's just not how they operate. They know what he brings. They know what he's worth. Not just on the field, but in the locker room, in the film room, in every part of what makes a championship caliber defense. So whether it happens next week or closer to kickoff, the ink is going on that paper. You can bet on it. And once that's in place, the real focus can shift. Getting this defense back to where it needs to be. Because as much as we talk about Kenny Pickett, the offensive line, or Najee Harris, the truth is this team is built around its defense. It always has been. It's the Steelers' identity. And that identity only works when number 90 is doing what he does best. Now, here's where things start to get a little more complicated. Because while we can all agree that TJ Watt is a massive part of this team's success, the bigger question becomes, is this defense built to succeed even when he's not playing at an MVP level? And that's not some hypothetical scenario. It's something we've seen unfold in real time. There were stretches last season, even in games they won, where TJ was effectively neutralized. Not because he suddenly forgot how to rush the passer, but because opposing offenses were doing everything they could to keep him away from the play. And when that happens, when the guy you're counting on to disrupt the backfield is being taken out by scheme, someone else has to step up. The question is, has anyone actually done that? But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder in the Steel City, and they all seem to point in one direction: Kyle Hamilton. The Baltimore Ravens star safety is now being linked to a stunning potential move to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a scenario that, while unconfirmed, has ignited passionate speculation across the league. Sources close to the situation hint at serious internal discussions in Pittsburgh about solidifying the secondary, and Hamilton's name keeps surfacing. While no official talks have been confirmed, there's mounting buzz that the Steelers are actively exploring ways to bring a game-changing presence to the back end of their defense. Could Kyle Hamilton, a former first-round pick with elite instincts and versatility, be that missing piece? Hamilton, known for his rare combination of size, speed, and football IQ, would be a dramatic addition to Mike Tomlin's evolving defense. Though primarily a strong safety in Baltimore, there's talk that he could assume the free safety role in Pittsburgh, allowing the Steelers to shift their defensive schemes and finally put together a truly elite secondary. This move would likely shake the very foundations of AFC North rivalries. What adds more fuel to this speculative fire is Pittsburgh's recent focus on upgrading its pass defense. The secondary has been effective but not dominant, a fact that's cost the team in high-stakes matchups. Hamilton's presence could instantly change that, providing range over the top and the ability to shadow tight ends and slot receivers with ease. Of course, prying a young star like Hamilton from a divisional rival wouldn't come cheap, if it's even possible. But in the world of NFL rumor mills, nothing is off the table. Whether it's a blockbuster trade, a surprise free agency strategy down the road, or just smoke without fire, one thing is certain. The idea of Kyle Hamilton wearing black and gold has fans and analysts alike watching closely. For now, it's just a rumor. But in Pittsburgh, where defense is religion, the thought of Kyle Hamilton roaming the secondary is enough to cause a stir, or maybe even keep opposing quarterbacks up at night. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.